So this is Munki and Friends Git under control. So I was talking to Riley like, I don't know, 2 months ago about coming up here and talking. And the name of the conference is really what made me want to talk about this. So this is about applying like a DevOps workflow to a Munki deployment. You can use this for other tools, but this is kind of specific to Munki, but not really dependent on how Munki works. So a little bit about me. I'm on the corporate SRE team at Dropbox. I manage over 2,000 Macs with Munki and Puppet. I kind of stopped counting. So, like, once you get more than 100, I don't think it's really any different. I don't have any legacy operating systems, so, like, I don't remember life before profiles or, like, before Ruby 2. Like, and we're hiring, so if that sounds good to you, talk to me. I mean, I do have a PowerBook. That's for fun. So Greg talked about Munki, and I like to think of this as like the classic Munki workflow. So you got your machine, your admin machine. Hopefully it's a new Mac Pro, but if it's not, you should get one. Then you've got your old Xserve that you run your Munki server on. And then you got, with an Xserve RAID, come on. And then you got all your client machines. And since you got your $9,000 Mac Pro, you're still running a bunch of Emacs, so whatever. But, so, you've got your Munki repo in your user shared folder. And then you connect it with AFP, it gets shared out over HTTP, and that works all right. But it's susceptible to a lot of problems. So we're going to fix this with version control. Now, I've seen a lot of talks about version control and what you can do with it. But the real thing that they never talk about is why. And the reason is, when you're not in version control, you're living on the edge. It's just like there's so many ways that you can fall off. And it works pretty well until something happens. So life on the edge. Without version control, you can instantly make changes to anything, but they can instantly bring you some headaches. So you can have some accidents. You might delete something on accident. Oops, it's gone. Sorry, I pushed the wrong software out to you. And it's also really hard to tell what changed over time. So when did it change? Who did it? I don't know. So we can go back to this, and there's no place in the system where you can tell what changed and when. I mean, I guess if you were hosting on a Windows, you could use like shadow copies or something, but that's kind of goofy. So we want to put our Munki repo in version control. So we got to decide on a system to use. So there's a few out there. There's CVS, which is super old school, and nobody uses it anymore. There's Subversion, which some things still use. There's Mercurial, which is cool because it's in Python, but I don't know anybody really using that anymore. And then there's Git, which is cool. It's cool to use Git, and be cool, use Git. So Git, it's nice, so it's fully distributed. So everybody always has a full copy of the repository. So you can work locally, no problems with that. I fly a lot, so I work on airplanes, and I don't have to worry about having access to the server. It's pretty easy to learn and use. I use Git a lot, and sometimes I have to go back and use Subversion or Mercurial, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I said it's extremely popular for new projects. You can use remote servers to store your data. So very popular is GitHub. I'm sure you've all been to GitHub before. There's Bitbucket from Atlassian, which is nice if you're like in education or something. You get free private repositories. I don't know. I don't really use Bitbucket. There was Google Code, but that's kind of dead now. And if you want to run something internally, I would recommend Gitolite, which can just be an internal Git server for you. So what we'll ultimately end up with is something like this, where we've replaced that direct link over AFP with sending our, we'll have a local copy of our Munki repo on our computer in our user folder. That would be, under Git folder, whatever, wherever you want to put it. We're going to send it up through Git to wherever we want, and then we're going to have our server pull that down. So I can make any local changes, and if I screw something up, I don't have to, it's not immediately on the server, and it's not even immediately on GitHub, so you can't see the mistakes I've made. So some common Git commands that we're going to use. You might have seen like git clone, so this is the repository that I'm going to work with right now. Git status, if you're in a Git directory, you might want to type that and see exactly where you are. If you've made changes, you can add those. And then we'll make a commit. You might push it to your remote server. Or if you have something in another branch, which we'll talk about later, you can cherry pick it by having the hash. Now, some of this, like, you might not understand yet. That's fine. I'm not going to teach you Git in 20 minutes. So this is like, we're going to get to a demo, which will hopefully make more sense. So branches and AutoPkg, which is where it makes sense in this. So nobody's really talked about AutoPkg very much yet, but so you have your, you have your master branch in Git, which is basically like production. But I have other things that push into that. So I have an AutoPkg bot that commits into a separate branch every single piece of software that it finds. Because, well, I ultimately want Chrome or Flash or something like that to just go straight into production. I don't want AutoPkg touching my production machines without any intervention. So I'm going to have AutoPkg put all that stuff in a production catalog, but it's not going to go straight out. Someone's just going to have to, pull it in. So I run against its own branch, one recipe at a time. Whenever there's a commit to that branch, I get an email alert. And then when I see something I want, I can cherry pick that into my master branch. Or if I just want everything, I can git merge, but you're not going to use that very much. So I know I sped through all that. It's because I want to spend time on this demo, which I think makes more sense. So we're going to turn mirroring on because I don't like to type over my shoulder. All right. So here I have a Munki repo. So here we can see that I have, a bunch of packages in here, packages info, catalogs. This is just like a basic Munki repo. It doesn't really do very much. It has like an old version of Firefox in here and stuff like that. So this is the live one that's on GitHub right here. You could go look at this right now. So what happens here is this is pulling every 5 seconds or 2 seconds to a remote server. Normally you wouldn't have it pull every 5 seconds, but this is for the demo. So any changes I make in that master branch will be reflected quite quickly. So I have this VM here. We're going to rewind it to this snapshot before it did all this stuff. And we can run manage software update. And it's going to download some, Factor and Firefox, these things that are managed installs. That's what is in this manifest here. Super simple. The Wi-Fi here is pretty decent, but it might take a few seconds to download Firefox. That's okay. So while that's happening, we know what's going to happen. Those things are going to get installed. So I have another branch here where I want to get something from. If we go over to the Munki repo, so GitHub's good for browsing things. I have this AutoPkg branch where there's some other commits here. We can see it's 2 commits ahead. So there's this new version of Firefox in here in Google Chrome that my AutoPkg bot has put in there. And I have AutoPkg running continuously. For this demo, it's not actually running continuously, but it found this new version of Firefox that is not in my master branch. So I need to copy that. Commit. Everything's a commit hash. So the other thing I could do is git checkout AutoPkg, so that would give me that branch. And if I look in the log, there's those. So I want the new version of Firefox because my Munki repo only has Firefox 35. That's old. So I'm going to do git checkout master because I want that back. I'm going to do git cherry -pick and give it that hash. It's going to pull in those. It's changed. So it's changed the catalogs. So the catalog's already there, and it's added the disk image and the package info. So we have that. It's now in the master branch, but that's still downloading. So with Munki, it automatically finds the highest version. It's done. Oh my God. All right. So we'll have Firefox 35 in a second. So I'm going to type git log and see what I have. So now I have that here, but that's only local because I'm acting locally. So this hasn't just pushed it out. I need to actually do that. So I'm going to type git status, and it's going to show me that I have DS stores, but that's for git ignore, which we can talk about too. But I'm going to push up to GitHub. It's going to take a minute, but that's fine. And then once that's done, we should see here that it will pull It was faster earlier. Someone's watching YouTube.
Sorry.
Live demos. All right, so that's pushed. Cool. So we can see here that this has pulled that down. So now if I run, I'm going to run the GUI this time because that's fun. This is going to talk to my server, and it's going to find the new version of Firefox, and now it's downloading Firefox 38. Cool. But I want Chrome as well, so I need to do two things for that. I need to get the commit hash for this, so we're going to copy that. And then I also need to edit my manifest, because right now Chrome is not in here. So if I don't have Chrome in my manifest, it's in the catalog and it's on the repo, but my machine's never going to see it. So I'm just going to copy this and add a new line. I think it's Chrome, probably. It might be Google Chrome. I don't remember. It's Chrome. So if I type git status now, it's going to see that this manifest was modified. So I know it was changed. But if in case I had screwed it up, I could do like git checkout. Wow, I'm trying to tab complete that. That will not work. So if I go back, that's just reverted my change. So if you screw something up, it's only local. It's not actually out to anybody yet. So I have that again. So I'm going to do a commit, and that is add Chrome to installs. And now if I do git status, I'm going to be ahead of master by 2 commits. So first commit is the version of Chrome, like Chrome 43. The second commit is adding it to that manifest so I can push that. And then once that pushes, it'll install in this VM here. That might take a minute. So that's like the basic Git workflow for Munki. The core of it is that all your changes are being made locally. So if you screw something up or you want to change, you're just experimenting. Sorry, I'm watching that. If you're just experimenting, then those changes aren't immediately going out to your fleet. So if you're running off a file share and you accidentally delete something, or you accidentally add something to, or you do add something to a manifest that isn't ready yet, maybe it has a bad install check script that just deletes things. I've seen that before. You won't have that problem, I hope. So that's the little demo. We're going to go back to here. So there is one more thing. It's not 3 things, though. It's one thing. It's binaries. So the way this was done here, the binaries were all straight in Git. And if you do that, eventually it's going to blow up. So, files plus time equals, boom, it's going to blow up. So Git repository should be less than a gig. If you saw in those pushes that I did, GitHub will warn you if your files are more than 50 megs. And if your repository is more than a gig, they're going to email you and say, hey, that's bad. So Git stored is a file system that's really good for differentials on text files, but I don't really care what the difference is line by line between like Firefox 38 and Firefox 39. Ultimately, what you care about is just the hash of the file and what the version number is, but I'm not diffing binaries. So we want to use a tool like git-fat, which is a third-party plugin, third-party filter for Git. These are all the not fat, but large emojis that I could find. So what it does is it filters out the large binaries from your repository and replaces them with text files that are hashes. So we can see here at the bottom that instead of this file being 5.6 gigs, it's just this one-line text file. And Git will handle that very well. So instead of my Munki repo being, 300 gigs, which would blow up, I promise you it blows up at like 10 gigs. It's like a megabyte, maybe. So it replaced them with that. And this is going to look a little bit more complicated. This is what it looks like. Sorry, it looks more complicated than AFP and HTTP, but you still have your local repo. You still work on it just the same. You maintain your same Git workflow, but the binaries get stored separately. They don't get uploaded to GitHub or Bitbucket. They get sent to one of your internal servers over rsync. It can be rsync over SSH. It can also be a local file. You can put it wherever you want, but it'll store those binaries separately and treat them just as they should be without blowing things up. And then you can adapt that. So, you have multiple people working on it. So you can have 2 admins, more than that working on it, have AutoPkg working on it. And that's how you do all that. If you have any questions, you can always talk to me. I know it's a lot. It's not a full tutorial. I just want you to use Git for your Munki repo instead of having it be this super living on the edge lifestyle of an old school AFP share. I'll have a compilation up hopefully this afternoon of how you should do this stuff, but you can always find me on Freenode or Twitter.